Having anxiety is not bad. That's the title of today's video, and that's what I'm coming on here to talk about. Now, before I get into this video, I just got a quick disclaimer. I'm not a licensed, psychologist or mental health counselor or anything like that. You know what I mean? If you need to seek further help and if you need to seek professional help, please do that. Take that into consideration and get the help that you need. Also, this video is not bullet pointed or scripted down. So this is just going to be me coming off, on the camera, just giving my thoughts and just trying to get something off my chest. So, excuse if the video is not, concise or formulated. This is just raw thoughts, and just raw speech. And then excuse the lighting too. I know it look kind of weird, the natural light casting and, not really no light right here. I know, I got the ceiling fan light on, but that ain't really doing much. But without further ado, we just gonna get straight into it, right? Anxiety, right? I didn't, talked about this topic. I didn't talked about the definition before previously on my channel. I'll probably leave that in the description below. So if you want to watch those videos and come back to this, to have a better, overall clarity and understanding, go ahead and do that. But, you know, just to get, across the point real quick without, delaying it or going on too long. Anxiety, right? Most people know what this is. If you ask some people, what does anxiety feel like, or what, can you define anxiety to me? Most people will be able to, just use common sense. And that's not to, degrade anybody or call anybody dumb or nothing like that. But, if you use your common sense, you sit back and you think about it, you know, any and everybody should be able to come up with their own definition or the clinical definition, head. Even if they do or don't know the clinical definition, most people have experienced it and can give you their own definition or a definition of anxiety, right? I'm pretty sure I'll probably pop it up right here, right on the side of me. But I'm pretty sure anxiety is a feeling, right? A type of emotion or feeling that we get, right? It's common and present in everybody, right? Like I said, everybody in their life has experienced it before, just to, so just not to drag out, the overall definition or the meaning or just the overall understanding of it. I'm gonna just keep it that short and simple, right? Everybody in their life has experienced anxiety before, and if you ask anybody, everybody, you know, if they were to define anxiety, can define, excuse me, what anxiety is and what that feels like, they'll be able to give you the answer, right? Right off the bat, right? Now, like I said, I'll probably pop the definition up here or somewhere else. But like I said, I also got videos on this too. But to get past this part, right? Most of us has experienced this before, right? Now, if we had to sit back and ask ourselves, right, what do we notion or what's the notion that we get when it comes to us having anxiety or experiencing anxiety, right? And I know this is just, me giving my thoughts and opinions, but I think if you, like I said, if you was to ask anybody, they would probably be able to say the same thing or give you the same, overall thoughts about it, right? What's the notion, what's the conception, behind anxiety and, the different type of situations that you may be in? What stigma does that come with? And I feel like that comes with negativity, right? Anytime we experience anxiety, we're feeling any anxiety, I think we tend to bring that across or bring that up or pair it together with a bad notion of anxiety being a bad thing and it being, just a bad thing in general, right? But we need anxiety in order to, have our survival instincts intact, our flight or fight system, things like that. Like, you can't get rid of the whole feeling or notion of anxiety in general. That's just not possible. That's just something that's haywired in us, in humankind and, in human nature. You know what I mean? If you was to get rid of anxiety, then you would probably, get rid of all the senses that you need, like I said, in order to react and, have those, those fight or flight moments, in order to save your life, from a dangerous situation, things of that nature, things along that line, right? So it wouldn't make sense to get rid of the whole thing, right? But like I said, and maybe, it's different in it's different in every situation, right? With that situation, anxiety is present. Anxiety is present because it needs to be present in that particular situation, right? And when you think about that, right, you sit back and you think about that example or that situation, you sit back and you think about it, and it's like, okay, well, it's not as bad as I think it is, or it's not as bad as people make it out to seem, right? Because like I said, without that anxiety, without the feeling or the emotion of anxiety being there, I don't think you will be able to respond, accordingly to that situation, to a dangerous situation, to a life altering, event or something like that, right? Without that, I don't think you would be able to react and be able to, course through that situation, right? But let's run it back. Let's do a flip on that, right? Let's say it's something a little bit more mild, right? Let's say you in a public, situation, you in a public scenario, a public scene, right? And you in a large crowd. Say you had a large crowd at school, right? You in a large crowd at school, y'all are in the auditorium, and you know that your class has to give, a speech today. You got to give a speech on the book report that the whole class read, right? And you start to get anxiety because, oh, you're afraid somebody might judge you, or you ain't say this right, or am I looking right up here, or did I say that right, or did I do this right, is my report good, stuff like that, right? You're going to start to build up anxiety, not only from you going up and speaking in front of that many people, but worrying about other people perception of you, and you judging yourself and making sure you doing what you need to do, and wondering if you're doing it right in general, right? So when you get up there, you may be like, oh, this is bad, this is terrible, this is the worst thing that could ever happen to me. Why did this happen to me right here and now? You know what I mean? You'll start to kind of pair that together and, you know, mesh that together with bad and negative emotions and thoughts, right? I don't know about anybody else, but I know me personally, when I get anxiety, I start to feel it in my stomach, right? I start to feel it in my stomach. I may start sweating. You know what I mean? You may start, overthinking. You know what I mean? And once those things happen, when those changes happen mentally and physically, especially in a situation where you don't want the anxiety to be present and you don't want to have to deal with the feeling of that, it's like that situation is going to be more, apparent to you, bringing up and having, those negative thoughts and those negative emotions behind it. Oh, this is bad, this is terrible, like I have to give the speech, but I'm nervous, I have anxiety, I don't know if I can do it. You know what I mean? You start stumbling over your words. You know what I mean? You start stuttering. You may have a voice crack. Things of that. And when those things start to pile up, when those things start to happen, bam. You know what I mean? It's automatically a negative thing, right? It's automatically a bad thing because you don't want that to happen, right? You don't want it to be there present in that situation, right? In the specific example that I just said, you giving out a book report in front of the whole class, right? You in the auditorium, right? You want to be able to come across like you're, cool, calm, collected, and you in the present moment. That way you can give across your report, you know what I mean, without having any fear, without having, the thoughts of people judging you, without having, you worrying about whether or not you did something right or you said something right. You want to be able to go into that situation feeling confident, right? But this is a thing about that, right? With that specific example right there, right? With that specific example right there, right? If you ask anybody that, you know what I mean, and maybe it just depends on who the person is, but I feel like if you ask anybody that, you put them in that situation, you bring up that specific example that I just said to them, and you told them, to go do that, and they had to go up there and do that, most people would be feeling anxiety, or let's more say, right, you put them in that example, you put that in them in that scenario, and you ask them how would they be feeling, right? Most people would probably say they'd be feeling anxious. They will have anxiety because some people may not be that, comfortable with speaking in front of that many people. Some people may. It just depends on who the person is. But I feel like even in general, you take somebody who may be a little bit more confident and they may still have a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of nervousness when they get up there and they in that same specific, situation. You ask anybody this, just with a rational mind, you know what I mean? Any normal person, they'll probably be saying they feel anxious too, right? And that's the thing about it. That's not a bad thing to be feeling anxious in that specific situation. That's the point I'm trying to get across, and that's the thing that I'm trying to tackle in this video. Not every situation that you are in, or not everything, that you deem to be bad when you have anxiety is really that bad or bad at all. That's a normal situation. Like I said, you ask anybody that, they probably gonna be feeling the exact same way that you feel. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all. That's common. Most people, like I said, don't have that confidence to go up and talk in front of that many people. It's going to take a little longer. It's going to take a little practice. It's going to take a little used to getting used to. You know what I mean? That's not something that you should feel bad about or feel, beating yourself up about it. Most people will feel that exact same way. And that's the thing about it, right? I feel like this is something that I've been practicing with a lot recently, and I feel like this is something that you need to do in order to get away and break away from that cycle, right? Understand that just because you have an anxiety don't mean that you got to let it overtake you and let it overcome your whole day in the way you feeling in that specific moment, right? I know not everybody is the same, right? I'm speaking for myself. Some people anxiety may be a little bit more severe. And like I said in the beginning of the video, that's when you go and seek that professional help, that you may be needing in order to solve, that problem and get through that situation, right? But in general, if you just had to give a bare bones statement on what you could do to try to maneuver and get through that, you just gonna have to not let it bother you. You know what I mean? You heard of the term, don't let people see you sweat. Don't let them see you sweat. You know what I mean? Even if they do, just keep yourself as cool, calm, and, collective as you can possibly be. Even if you got anxiety real bad, like it's just super bad, like you feel like you need to go away and take a break, right then and there. Just keep yourself calm and, you know, in a good frame, even when you feeling that, even when you having those feelings of anxiety. Keep yourself in a good frame. You know what I mean? Even if you gotta fake it, you know what I mean? Like I said, even if you gotta fake it, just try to stay as calm as possible. Do breathing exercises. Meditate in order to, incorporate, things to help, combat the problem. You know what I mean? Journal, write things down about your day. Write down how you feeling. You know what I mean? Go seek the professional help that you need to, go and see. Go talk to a relative, talk to a family member, a friend, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? Do stretches, do yoga, work out, take a cold shower, hop in an ice bath, whatever you can do in order to combat those problems. Do that, right? Because not only is that going to help, in the long run, but it can also help you understand, wait a minute, in that specific situation where you may be having anxiety, that can help you remember, wait a minute, I practice this. You know what I mean? I do this. I take the time out. I take the steps in order to help myself get through these situations more easily and in a better and calm, you know, and conservative way, right? I meditate every day. I journal every day. I take a cold shower every day. I can do this. You know what I mean? Even if you ain't feeling like that in the moment, even if you ain't feeling super calm, just knowing that you put in the work and you do those things in order to, combat that problem, that's what's going to help it. Cuz to be honest, you could sit up and complain about it all you want, but that ain't going to do nothing. That ain't going to do nothing. You could sit up, you could complain, you could cry about it, you can mope about it, you can rant about it. It ain't going to do nothing. Because at the end of the day, if you just sit there and let it overtake you, you sit there and you just let it stop you from doing what you want to do and going to where you want to go in life, you're not going to be able to do nothing because it's just going to be holding you back. You know what I mean? If I had to put it in the most simplest, bare bone way, you just gotta move through it. You just gotta move through it. You just gotta face it head on. Don't flinch nothing. Just face it head on. That's the only thing you can do. Cause running away from it ain't gonna do nothing. It's still gonna be there. The only way for you to get rid of that feeling is for you to just go in and hit it head on. Head on. That's the only way. And just remembering that when you having these feelings, that it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's something that we all have in our human nature, like I said, in our biology, as humans, right? It's something that we all have. So don't sit up and try to make it a bad thing. Don't sit up and use it as, a placeholder or crutch, to your situation. Do those things that I just said, you know what I mean? Get that professional help. Start meditating every day. Take ice baths. Take cold showers, you know what I mean? Journal it. Write it down. Talk to, a psychiatrist. Talk to a mental health counselor. Talk to a relative. Talk to a friend. Whatever you need to do, whatever you can think of to help combat the problem in a positive outlet, do that, right? Because it shouldn't be a problem in the first place. It's something that we all deal with on a daily basis. And the only way you're going to be able to get through that is just facing it head on. So next time you in a situation where you feeling anxiety, it could be a speech. It could be you going up to talk to a girl you like. It could be you trying to meet new friends. It could be you going to a place you're not comfortable with. Anything like that. It could be you going out to drive. These is all things that I deal with on a personal level and some I deal with on a daily basis. Literally all those things I just said I deal with personally. And I'm not perfect. It's this stuff I'm still working on. That's why I'm trying to come across and be as transparent as I can to let you know that, you're not alone. You're not the only person that's going through this. And don't use that as a crutch holder to stop you from doing what you want to do in life. Do those things. Understand that it's not an overall bad feeling, like I said, because you need it. It's never going to go away. The overall instinctual feeling of anxiety, it's never going to go away, right? As far as when it comes to it being wired biologically in your body, right? But when it comes to social situations, anything like that, you can work on that by doing those things and understand that it's normal. It's not bad because you feeling nervous to give a speech. Anybody probably gonna feel that. It's just what you gonna do in order to get through that. So that's what I want to come on here and talk about. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'm out.